A population of 1.4 billion inhabitants in a single country is a serious matter. Come on, this means 490 times the population of Uruguay, the least populated country in our region, or 17.4% of the total world population. Although it is estimated that by the end of 2023 India surpassed China in terms of population, in this video, we will focus on the Asian giant. How has it maintained its position as the most populated country in the world for so long? What contributed to its rise as an emerging superpower? Interested? Go for it. So stay until the end of the video. To start, I would like to clarify why in this video we focus on China and not on India. Basically, there are two reasons. Firstly, China is a much more homogeneous country, in which more than 90% of its population belongs to the Han ethnic group. Mandarin, their main language, is the most spoken language on the planet by native speakers. This goes hand in hand with the nation-building process of the Asian giant, something we will look at in more detail shortly. Unlike India, whose creation emerged from the union of various princely states after the intervention of the United Kingdom, China underwent a more natural process. This cultural and political disparity continues to this day, making India a true cultural mosaic. The second reason is related to how surprising it is that the Chinese population has managed to exceed 1 billion. Despite having gone through numerous episodes of mass massacres throughout its history, including the Mongol invasions, the Black Plague, the Opium Wars, the Taiping Rebellion, the Second Sino-Japanese War, the Great Famine, or Mao's repression. Wow, they really are immortal. Now let's delve into the underlying reasons. For this, let's go back to the year 8500 BC. At this time, there were no organized states yet, but there was a key factor that marked the transition from nomadism to sedentism, the discovery of agriculture. For the development of this activity, fertile lands are needed, which are found in large quantities in the basins of the great rivers. Of the 6 longest rivers in the world, 2 are located in China, the Yangtze and the Yellow, which form 2 extensive basins on the eastern coasts of the country. However, for the establishment of populations, it is not enough to have these basins, but they must be located in habitable places, such as the valleys and temperate forests that surround both basins. This contrasts with the inhospitable Amazon or the Sahara Desert. This led to the Sino-Tibetan civilization, the precursor of modern Chinese, forming with notable anticipation. By the year 8500 BC, important cultures such as Nangsuangtao and the Xianren Cave already existed, followed by several more. As for organized states, the first great dynasty was the Xia, founded in 2070 BC and established in the Yellow River Basin. Since then, in a period when Europe, Sub-Saharan Africa, and America did not exist in the shadow of organized states, a series of dynasties succeeded each other that gradually expanded their territory in present-day China. Among them stands out the Han Dynasty, which achieved an unprecedented myth by expanding westward, laying the foundations for the creation of the famous Silk Road. This facilitated a remarkable economic growth for the Chinese, which expanded over the following centuries, generating a cycle of continuous life development. It is important to note that, unlike the great empires formed in Europe and the Near East, the Chinese dynasties had a decisive advantage: their strategic geographical location. China is surrounded by the Himalayan range to the southwest, the Gobi Desert, and the steppes to the west, the icy Siberia to the north, dense tropical jungles to the south, and the ocean to the east, natural barriers everywhere. This geography has historically protected the country from external threats, mainly limited to the Xiongnu and the Mongols before the contemporary era. In addition to geographical factors, there are cultural reasons deeply rooted in the Han people. Traditionally, Chinese culture has placed great importance on family and offspring. Large families were common, and having many children was considered both an economic and social advantage, given the country's historically agricultural character. The more children, the more labor to work. Despite these factors, like in other parts of the world, China's population remained relatively stable for several centuries, hovering around 100 million from the 12th to the 19th century. With the arrival of the Industrial Revolution, the population skyrocketed to reach 500 million by 1950 and approximately 1 billion by 1980. This increase coincides with China's economic boom after Deng Xiaoping's reforms. With the improvement of living conditions and advances in health matters by the 2001.4 billion, China reached 1.4 billion inhabitants. It is noteworthy that even the one-child policy established in 1979 failed to contain the unstoppable population growth. With these considerations, it is time to look towards the future, and predictions suggest that the incessant population growth has come to an end. China has reached a level of development comparable to that of Western powers, which means that the practice of having numerous children to work in the fields has lost relevance. Projections indicate that from the year 2040, China will begin to decline demographically, and by 2100, its population could return to around 1 billion inhabitants. As you can see, we are witnessing the decline of the demographic boom of the Asian giant. This growth occurred due to historical, geographical, cultural, and economic reasons, and led to the emergence of a rising superpower that could eventually become the new hegemon of the world. Do you think China can achieve this ideal despite starting its demographic decline? Don't forget to leave your comments and subscribe to the channel. Also, I leave in the description my social networks, and in case you want to see my videos in pre-premiere, your donations on Patreon, ahermanito.net, or channel members are welcome. Until next time.